Everyone knows Gustavo from Breaking Bad. He was always in the background, quiet, calculating, polite. But what if the real hero of Breaking Bad was Gustavo Fring? What's Breaking Bad looks like from his perspective? Hey everyone, welcome to Verse of Villains. Let's begin today's discussion. From the outside, Gustavo Fring was the perfect American businessman. Los Pollos Hermanos fed thousands, his donations supported law enforcement, and his demeanor never cracked. But behind the glasses and perfect posture was a man on a mission. Not for power, not for money, but for justice. The justice that the system could never deliver. Years ago, in a blood-soaked hacienda in Mexico, Gus watched his closest friend and partner, Max Arciniega, murdered by Hector Salamanca and the cartel. That moment ignited something cold and precise inside him. Gus didn't want revenge, he wanted order. He wanted a world where the chaos of cartel violence would never touch innocence again. And so, he built an empire, not of drugs, but of discipline. While the DEA hunted low-level dealers and missed the real threat, Gus infiltrated the criminal underworld like a ghost. Clean businesses, clean books, clean hands. Every move calculated, every risk measured. His meth empire wasn't built for domination. It was built to replace the chaos with control. A system where violence was rare, children were never used, and product never touched the streets without strict regulation. And then came Walter White. At first, Gus saw potential, a man dying of cancer, desperate to leave something behind. Walt's blue meth was chemistry perfected, and Gus believed he could mold this man into a tool for good. But he underestimated one thing. Walter White was chaos in human form. Behind Walt's quiet voice and teacher's face was a narcissist with a god complex. As Walt partnered with the reckless Jesse Pinkman, bodies started dropping, lies piled up, and soon everything Gus built began to crack. He tried to warn Walt, tried to separate him from Jesse, even offered him a future. Clean lab, endless resources, no bloodshed. But Walt wouldn't be handled. And Jesse? Gus saw in him a lost boy, poisoned by the older man manipulating him. Still, he tried to reach Jesse to show him a path forward, but Walt's influence ran deep. Meanwhile, DEA agent Hank Schrader, obsessed with the Heisenberg mystery, circled ever closer. Ironically, Gus had been aiding the DEA with intel for years, funding their operations, feeding them just enough to stay off his trail. He wasn't their enemy, he was their silent partner. And still, they never saw him coming. But heroes don't always win. Walter outmaneuvered him, not with brilliance, but with recklessness. He turned Jesse against him with lies, poisoned a child, crossed every line Gus swore never to cross. And in the end, when Gus walked into that nursing home to confront Hector Salamanca, the man who started it all, he wasn't walking into a trap. He was walking into justice. He knew the risks, knew Walt had moved, knew Hector had flipped. But Gus chose to face the chaos one last time, face to face. To prove to himself that he could still stand tall in a world that rewarded monsters like Walter White. And when the explosion came and Gustavo Fring emerged for one final second, straightening his tie, bloodied but proud, it wasn't arrogance, it was honor. Because this version of Breaking Bad isn't about a teacher becoming a kingpin. It's about a man who tried to bring order to the underworld, who built an empire to protect the innocent, who fought monsters with strategy, not ego, and who fell, not because he was weak, but because the world always mistakes silence for weakness. This time, Breaking Bad isn't about breaking good men. It's about one good man who never broke until the very end. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you only wish to drop a comment about which villain I should upload next. Till then, goodbye.